Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Museum of Techno Art, MTA, hosted by the venue on Broadway, 28 East Broadway. The Museum of Techno Art is a collective of dreamers and makers exploring the interaction of human stories, technology, and post-industrial, can't pronounce that word, inspired by the history of invention, retrofuturism, and machines, both real and imaginative. MTA curates traveling exhibits that spark delight and wonder. Through tradition and contemporary processes, the collective creates one-of-a-kind sculptures, assemblages, and graphic artworks, both contemplative and whimsical, that reimagine artifacts from possible futures, reinvent past and remnants of a machine age. United by shared commitment to craft and imagination, MTA transcends genre to deliver exceptional art and experiences wherever they exhibit. Now, this statement basically covers what a particular artist might think what the Museum of Techno Art's all about. Everybody comes up with their own idea. This statement sort of covers it all. My take on the Museum of Techno Art or Techno Art is more maybe like 20s and 30s and 40s, interwar technology, Art Deco, the form and function, industrial type things that were made. Other artists, a little bit different. So the statement I read is sort of covers it all in a way. Anyhow, our group here comprises of 9 artists. That includes Joe Moroz, Max Rink, Alan Ott, Robert Bowman, Barbara Bakalova, Judd Turner and his wife Renee, and who am I forgetting? Ralph Huber. I'm sorry, but Ralph Huber. So we basically are a traveling art exhibition. Earlier this year, we were at Mecca. After that, we were at the Emerald Arts Center in Springfield. After that, we're here for a couple months. Next month in September, we will be at the Midtown Art Center. And right now, we're also in Brownsville, Oregon at the Janky Bird. So please come up there, over there, down here, and next year we have a schedule where some of those places I have mentioned are going to have us back again. So we're becoming a sort of a permanent exhibition at some places, a traveling exhibition at other places, and it works out pretty well this way. I've got it timed down to where we take down and set up at the next place. It works out pretty well, and it's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing what we do here. It's a nice fun on how things work, and so please come on down. Okay, this particular piece originally was painted by Alex Mosier. She presented this to me late 2023. She called it King of Steam. And on the original painting, acrylic painting, she had these gears and gauges painted on the piece. And early 2024, she had a gauge painted here. And I laid down a gauge. You can see how it looked. And I didn't stop till you see what I have. And there's over 100 different items that I installed on the piece. So, and then I renamed it King of Steam Redux. So thank you Alex Mosier for the wonderful piece that you did. And then what I did to it was, it's a retrospective of myself, my work, and the history that I've done in the community too. And it was just a lot of fun putting together. So we have the master switch is on, and I should have shut this off beforehand, but we do have a neon piece here, so I'll leave that on. The master is on, like I said. If we flip this switch, The boiler should start here pretty soon, and there it is, just smoking away. So we've got a little smoke generator that will provide a little smoke. I will shut that off because it stinks after a while. We have another switch here. They'll put on the fuel cell right here. And then I have another switch here that will put on the Zodiac wheel. I'll shut those off because they're kind of noisy right now. We do have a working clock mechanism. So wind that up, and you can see the clock mechanism is working right there. Nice brass mechanism right there. We have a telephone magneto right there. We have the gear head right here. I have a telegraph key, actually the key in the sender. Actually, yes. We have a vacuum tube. You really can't see it, but it's illuminated with a LED with the aerial looking device up there. We have an iPhone 4 phone, and I have a slideshow. It'll do several things. It'll give a slideshow of my work, or a slideshow of my Polaroid SX70 work, or images from Burning Man, whatever, which can be displayed in a slideshow form on the phone. Also, there's music on the phone that can be Bluetooth to the speaker up here, so all the sound will come out of the speaker up here. We have original World War I trench lighter, which I use to ignite this little burner here on this Stirling engine here, which will go. I'm not going to put that on right now. Where else do we have it? We have a smile here on Candid Camera. Take pictures there. Okay. We have a voltmeter, which is showing 120 volts, an amp meter, which is showing an amp 0.5 right now. We have a handle here, which will adjust our vacuum if we like. I have another lamp here that will illuminate me right there. We have a digital clock from a Honda. We have a clock from an early 1900s Rolls Royce clock. We have a little peep show inside here, rated R. If you look inside there. Oh God, what else we have here? A tuning capacitor here, a hot and cold running water there. My ultralight flying wings here, 50 caliber BMG bullet right there. A little blimp, a little placard that was made at Burning Man from the playa at Burning Man. What else? First Cavalry Division. I was in the first Cav in the Vietnam era, and the Second Infantry Division. New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire, so there's a little history that I have in there too. A little organ here. We have a 3-gun electron gun from a cathode ray tube because I work with cathode ray tubes in a lot of my pieces. We have the gallon and a half tank, holding tank that will hold a gallon and a half of vodka, and we can have a glass and pour it out right here. We have a scale. Oh gosh, there's more. We have a dog tag made from one of my contraptions. Got a level, pumps, this, that, and everything else. So come on down and check it out.
Hi, my name is Max Rink. I'm a local artist here in Eugene. I've been here for 12 or 13 years. I was invited into the MTA about 18 months ago by my good friend John Ross and my friend Steve Floricia. as they were just getting the MTA off the ground. So this piece is my latest piece, completed in 2025 at the beginning of May. A major piece for me. The title is Other Life, number 6. And the subtitle is Intensification. It is a major piece for me. Represents many things. It's 1 year of my life. It's also a distillation of all the artistic and technical ground that I've covered in my life. It's a piece that was shaped by the George Floyd uprisings and COVID and the state of the world before and since then. And very much on my mind was the interplay between chaos and order as I conceived it and as I brought it into being. So this is Other Life number 1, which I subtitled Pupation. This piece is the first major piece that I produced after moving to Eugene. After I moved from Eugene to California, it took actually several years for me to get a shop together where I could do this kind of work. Being older and then having parents getting sick and dying and all those things. But eventually I got a shop in Eugene. And once I had it all set up, I rehabbed an old chicken barn, or one end of it, to set up my shop. And this was a very spontaneous piece for me. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I had some general ideas, but this shape emerged as something I wanted to produce. And unlike some of the work you're going to see later on, this is a very extremely spontaneous creation, and also completely analog. There's no computer design or manufacturer involved in this. This is all old school 20th, 19th, 18th century sheet metal working techniques. And as it evolved, my childhood love of everything invertebrate and segmented just emerged and took the shape to its final form that you see here. And pupation, because it was that feeling of being in pupation, having been in pupation for a long time as an artist, and this being the first major piece that I produced as an adult, and then it led me on to the other work that you'll see here. Okay, this piece I titled Dissonance because for maybe obvious reasons, the politics, the social upheaval, the horror, bringing beauty into the world at the same time that so much horror is being brought into the world. This piece actually started a couple of years ago. It's just really a free-form experiment, or at least that's how it started in my mind. But as is often the case, you're like, oh well, that's more than a useful doodle. I think we'll actually give that the honor of being its own piece. And so I finished it up this year, got it suitable for hanging. So it's just kind of catching my mood in 2025.
My name is Robert Bowman. I'm at the Venue on Broadway, which is a newly developed art space right in the center of Eugene, Oregon. And I first got into the arts when I was a little boy. My mother would take me to art galleries, and then I attended art school in the 70s, but then not having made it as an artist, I sort of dropped out of art, and I had a long career as a builder. And then in '91, I moved to Eugene, Oregon, and I bought a number of properties all together, and I discovered green building. I didn't even know it was a field, but I discovered that it exists, and I kind of glommed onto it as an activist cause and developed what is now known as Maitreya Eco Village in Eugene. And the more I thought about sustainability, the more I came to look at it critically and through the lens of a more rigorous set of criteria, and the more I came to realize just how utterly unsustainable this entire enterprise called modern industrialized civilization is. It's going to be very difficult for the human family to achieve true, genuine, meaningful sustainability. But the good news is we will achieve it because we have no choice in the matter. Whatever we don't do voluntarily, we are going to do involuntarily, and the laws of physics do not care how unhappy or inconvenienced we might be with the final result. And then once retired, my wife and I spent about 4 days in New York City just before COVID came around, and we went to all these different galleries and museums, and I came back and said, damn it, I'm going to start doing artwork again. And I started doing stuff, and you could describe what I'm doing as collages made out of industrial materials. And I try to give I give the viewer some assistance in understanding the piece by giving my various pieces titles that might hint at or allude to the meaning that I had intended upon the artwork. Well, this piece is called For the Archaeologists, and it's meant to mimic the strata in an archaeological excavation. And it's made up of industrial materials, and not surprisingly, up toward the top there are printed circuit boards, dollar bills, and then dauntingly these are bullet shell casings right here. But it's all about, what will future archaeologists think about us? What are our descendants going to say about the folly that we created? Well, this is a triptych. It's called Triptych for a Strange and Fleeting Moment. You could say it's a before, right now, and after view of things. The first one is called Brooding Imperative, which could be, you could say that it speaks to the urge to build and grow and develop and so forth, to follow Adam Smith's wise and invisible hand of the free market. Any and all growth and development is inherently a good thing, completely oblivious of all the environmental questions with that statement. The middle one is right now. It's called Ephemeral Majesty, and this is the present moment. We have built up this astonishing thing called modern industrialized civilization. You look at some of the things that this thing has done, this great big juggernaut called civilization, and it's truly wondrous to behold. Ephemeral Majesty. And then the following one is the after one. This one's called Discontinued Plans, and you can see the bolts are all rusty, and then there's this great big bolt that's held in the center by a bunch of rusty bolts, and it's about how, hey, this thing is not going to continue. Not very likely not. There's one caveat: if we can find a source of energy that can really truly replace the fossil fuels, we might have a shot. And then if Elon Musk can go out and start mining asteroids and bringing the metals and minerals back, we might be able to keep this enterprise going. But God help the planet if that's the case, because they're just going to keep mining and chewing up the planet and dispersing toxins into the environment. So we'll see what happens. This piece is called Punctuated Equilibrium Descent. I do have an inner child. I wanted to make up one that is interactive and fun and kinetic. And the way it works is you drop marbles on the top, and they go running on down. And then they come out at the bottom. But meanwhile, there are screws that go from gold to black as they make the downward transition, and there are dollar bills that make more of a chaotic, angular downward motion as they go. So I would say that it has to do with the utterly unsustainable nature of our economy. You know, no country has ever been able to borrow its way out of debt, shall we say. This piece is called Never the Twain Shall Meet. All my materials I get at the recycling places. I never buy new materials, but I was excited one time at Bring Recycling to find a whole bunch of 1-inch stainless steel nuts. These would have been really expensive to buy new, but I got them for $3 a pound at the recycling place. And I assembled them into this large snowflake-like thing and polished it. And then you'll see that there's contrasted with the beautiful polished stainless steel nuts, there's a bunch of big, gnarly, rusty bolts sticking through the center of each one, and the beautiful, shiny snowflake swings forward and back with all these rusty bolts going in and out. No doubt there's a degree of penetration to this piece. That's kind of a theme, but also the contrast and good versus evil, innocent versus guilty, you know, all the different ways of things you could apply to this. But there's also a degree of separation that this stainless polished snowflake is swinging and not touching a single one of these gnarly, nasty, rusty, jagged bolts sticking through it. So it's like an exercise in contrast and the other things that I mentioned already. Well, anyway, these are the artworks that I have at this Museum of Techno Art group show at the venue on Broadway, right next door to Voodoo Donuts in the center of downtown Eugene. It's a pretty interesting group show. The work is quite different and very industrially themed, or steampunk themed is another way of putting it. And if any of you would like to come down and see it, we're open at least Friday and Saturday throughout the month of August, and it may continue further, but we don't know yet. It remains to be seen what happens. So come on into the venue on Broadway in Eugene and see this artwork.
All right, so my name is Maddie Woods, and I have had an office downtown for a little while, and I kept passing by this space. It's been empty for about a year, and thinking somebody should do something cool in this space. It's such a great, you know, with the doors and everything. And one day I just decided it's going to be me. I'm going to do it myself. And I really wanted to get into the art and music and culture of Eugene, so this is I bought my way into it. And I'm calling it the venue on Broadway. It's also going to be my creative studio at some point, but we're going to be hosting a lot of artists and musicians, and maybe doing some community events in here, pop-up shops and stuff like that. Okay, so as part of my outreach to kind of get out there with the art community, I started opening this up on First Fridays as soon as I signed the lease. And Steve, who is I think he's the president or the leader of the Museum of Techno Art, came in one day and he said, "Hey, this is a really cool space, and you know, we do shows and we're doing one next week, so here's the flyer and come see us." And it was at the Emerald Gallery in Springfield. And so I said, I'll be there, and I went and I saw their show, and I met a couple of the guys, and they were really excited about coming down here, and we decided to host them for a month, and it's been the best show we've done so far. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, and I think we might be doing another one at some point with the MTA, or with Steve at least, coming up in a few months. So the MTA is here for the July First Friday Art Walk, which was last night. It was a great success. We had lots of people, and they will be here until about the 28th, when they're gonna move on to Brownsville, I think. But we might keep some of their stuff for a few days after that.
Always.